Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit about what a powerful tool the schematic outline can be for helping you collect and organize your material for our paper before you start writing it. And here's the model I have created for you. 4 columns. Each column has a specific task. I want to talk about what I did in each column as I created this sample. So the first thing I did is I found the work of art, identified the artist, identified the title and the year, and made the title a link. So I would have a link to the image to use in my paper. Then I needed to work on my claim. And remember what we're trying to do with the claim. We've done this now 3 times, the street art, 2 street art projects in the oral exam. We're trying to answer the question, what does this work of art or artifact tell us about the cultural tension we've chosen? In this case, I've chosen nature as transcendent space and nature as commodity. So I create a sentence that answers that question. You'll notice the sentence uses the work of art. You'll notice the sentence includes a date. And the sentence uses both terms, nature as commodity, nature as transcendent space. Now, for my response, I focused on my belief that this work of art emphasizes transcendent space over commodity. Yours, you could see both terms in your work of art, or you could see a mix of the two. Doesn't have to be an emphasis on one term or the other. It's just that's what it happens to be for this work of art. But you can go any way you want as long as you're using both terms in your claim. On the other hand, using both terms doesn't mean you have to see both in the work of art. You could easily have a work of art where you saw only one of the 2 terms, and that's what you would emphasize even though your claim uses both. Details and interpretation. What I want you to do here is a little more detail than we've done before. I want you to find at least 3, more if you can, details about the work of art that you want to talk about, and pair each detail, so in this case I talk about the size of the art, with an interpretation of what that detail means, what it says about the tension. You'll notice here I talk about a specific part of the painting. I pair it with an interpretation. Again, a specific part of the painting paired, hate it when I do that, paired with an interpretation. And then finally, I was really interested with Pollock with the video that Hughes showed us and the description Das gave of how he painted. That was part for me of how I see him connecting with nature. So again, this time the detail comes from Das describing his method and then my interpretation of it. So you notice I've numbered each detail and I've paired it with an interpretation. That's what D1, I1, D2, I2, D3, I3 means. So I'm really carefully walking through details and interpretations of details that connect to my claims. And finally, cultural context. So when we talk about cultural context, what I'm really saying is find something, at least one idea from Das. It could be the time period. It could be the artistic movement that's being represented. It could be a mix of those things. And it's a good idea to ultimately in your paragraph only focus on one context. But here, as you're collecting material for your paragraph, you might want to collect multiple contexts. But everything you need for this paper is in Das or Hughes. No need to go beyond those sources. Everything's there. So I've got a quote here from Das about abstract expressionism. I've got a quote here about, in particular, how that abstract expressionism was challenging post-World War II social conformity. And then I've got a bunch of stuff from Hughes. Now, with Das, you have to provide page numbers. With Hughes, you can't do that. You'll just have to talk about how it comes from his video. And we'll talk more about sourcing of that later. But then I've got all these different quotes from either Hughes or Pollock himself. I really like the Pollock quotes that are in here. Hughes even makes a connection to nature, so it's really perfect for what I'm doing. So cultural context, once again, is all Das and Hughes. You're going to ultimately focus on one, but you might want to collect notes on more. Details and interpretation, you're going to try to find at least 3 details, Specifically type out what they are. Specifically type out the interpretations you see them connected to. The claim, you're going to use both terms and try to answer that guiding question. What does this artifact, what does this work of art say about this tension? And then, of course, the artifact information. You're going to do this 4 times because remember, you've got 4 works of art, each of which comes from a different period or art form. In other words, a different chapter from Das. Okay, hope this video is helpful. Please reach out to me, text, email, call if you have any questions. See you in Blackboard.